Good afternoon, your Black World family. Hey, Breaking Brown family. It is Saturday, and I just want to come to you and talk to you about something that I'm sure some of you view as an accomplishment. Wendy Bell, WTEA anchor, had been with that station since 1998, I read online, before the Petition Revolutionaries got her fired. The Petition Revolutionaries took offense at something Wendy Bell said on Facebook. She said basically, about when discussing a shooting, a gunman gunned down 5 family members behind a house during a barbecue. They were having a barbecue in Pittsburgh, an impromptu barbecue. A gunman, 2 gunmen in an alley apparently gunned down these family members. And Wendy Bell went on Facebook. She's an anchor in that community, and she went on Facebook and she said it doesn't take a lot to understand who these people are. These gunmen are probably young Black men in their 20s. They probably have multiple fathers, meaning that like a woman has a number of baby daddies. They probably have have multiple siblings, and she lost her job. She's fired now because the Petition Revolutionaries went at Wendy Bell. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of you agree with Wendy Bell anyway, so I don't even understand what this is about. And I do not fault her. In America, propaganda is a hell of a drug. So I do not fault her, and I don't fault most of you who believe that African Americans live at a position of choice in this country, who don't understand that what Wendy Bell was talking about. Wendy Bell is very good at telling us, and she was right in telling us what the manifestations of this dysfunction are. She doesn't understand, however, the foundational issues that lead to that. She doesn't understand that this is poverty. She doesn't understand that, people who have access to capital don't usually go around shooting and killing each other because they have nothing to live for. So I'm not going to fault Wendy Bell for not understanding something that most African Americans who I talk to don't understand. I'm not going to get her fired for that. I'll leave that to the Petition Revolutionaries to get her fired for saying something that, most African Americans tend to agree with. She doesn't understand, that Black people are descendants of slaves and that we're still an underclass in this country. And if you go to the ghetto, you can say, well, there's opportunity everywhere. No, there's not. There's not opportunity everywhere. These people didn't go to great schools. These people don't have access to money if they want to start businesses. These people, that's not who we are as a community. And so there are manifestations of that kind of hopelessness because dealing drugs is nothing but another way to get capital. That's just a way to get money. If you have other ways to get money that don't involve getting killed, then we'll do that too. But we typically don't have those options. So and let me just say, the Petition Revolutionaries are indicative of something else. The Petition Revolutionaries, I heard somebody on Facebook call them that, and I asked them, can I steal that? Because I really like the way that sounds. These people are all about anti-racism. But what you need to understand is the limits of this sort of anti-racism, where you just go and chase every white person who you believe is a racist and try to get them fired. In what sense is that activism? In what sense is that organizing? Before you decide whether or not to sign one of these change.org silly little petitions that end up in your inbox, I just want you to answer one question. The question I want you to answer is, does this benefit the majority of Black people? The majority of Black people are working class poor. I want you to ask yourself, does this give them health care? Does this give them economic power? Does it put more money in their pockets? Does this give them, a more robust welfare system? What does this do for the majority of Black people? That's when you hear me say I'm in favor of improving the material condition of Black people. That's what I'm talking about. I would like to improve the material condition of all poor people. When you hear me say that, that's what I'm talking about. Anti-racism doesn't improve the material conditions of Black people. Anti-racism is chasing your tail because you're offended that somebody white said something that you don't like. That's not anything. That's trash. So I'm not going around chasing every anchor or I'm not going around chasing every white person who said something that Black people found offensive. I don't care about that. What I care about is policy. And I know the criticism that I get when I say, Yvette cares about policy. The white man, they never did nothing for the Black man, for the Black person in this country. They ain't gonna never do nothing. So we got to do for self. And let me just, that's stupid too. Because here's the point. Here's the real point. When I look at Social Security, I have 2 parents, both on Social Security right now. When I look at Social Security, I know there was a study, I think it was from the Urban League, which found that over 50% of elderly black people would be living below the poverty line if it were not for Social Security. Right now, that number stands at between 17 and 19% of elderly black people who are living below the poverty line. That's still too many. That's way too many, but it's not over 50%. And it's not over 50% because of Social Security, which is a government policy. So please don't tell me that government policies cannot and do not benefit black people. I know that black people were initially excluded from the New Deal and from those New Deal era policies. But the point of the matter is we kept fighting, we got included, and it benefits us. So the idea that American government policies don't benefit black people is just silly and unserious. Now, and it's also silly and unserious for you to believe that you're going to go somewhere and build like this black nationalist camp, like you're going to be a country within a country. That ship has sailed. I think there could have been a period where that could have been possible, but that's over with. You're an American now, whether you like it or not. I don't know how you feel about it. It doesn't really matter how you feel about it. That's who you are. And you shouldn't, this idea that, what you're really telling me is that black people should walk away. That we should walk away from who we are. We've been in this country longer than a lot of the immigrants who've been here. But you're telling me that I shouldn't ask for things, or we shouldn't ask for things. It doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't make any sense for us to be part of this anti-racism brigade where we just go and chase people who hurt our feelings. I don't care about feelings anymore. I care about improving the material condition of black people. I don't want it. I'm not going to be fighting to get anybody fired, because the truth of the matter is, if you have economic power, you don't have to, that's not what you don't have to work on that. That's something that happens naturally. But even in terms of the Wendy Bell situation, towards the end of her post, she said, she said, but I'm not too worried about what's going on in terms of the shooters and all. She said, I was out to eat and I saw this young African-American man who was working hard. He was hustling, he was busting tables and he was busting his ass. And she said some very nice things about him. Now, it's problematic still because she believes that, if you make the choice to work hard, that good things automatically happen to you in this country if you're black, which shows that she doesn't understand the limits of racism and those kinds of impediments that are put in front of you when you have no money. So it's still problematic, but it shows that she doesn't understand. But I'm not going to get her fired for not understanding. And I'm not going to get anybody fired most of the time for not understanding. Show me something that benefits the majority of black people in this country, and I will support it. I'm not going to go around chasing people who don't validate black people or who make black people, or who hurt black people's feelings. There is no benefit to that. And I wish we would stop jumping on these bandwagons and instead focus on, putting in place or helping to put in place some policies that benefit a large number of African American people in this country.